I think something interesting for them to know a bit about the history of the toilet paper. Oh. Sorry. Okay. So I'm going to explain it very briefly because I just have 7 minutes. The uses in history and then other uses that we have nowadays. So in the origins, instead of toilet paper, what they used, what we used was like things like lettuce, cloths, leather, grass. Can you think of something else that you could use for as toilet paper? All right, interesting. Coconut, cod leaves, all right. So, from the beginning, the Greeks used to use clay and stones for cleaning their bottoms. Romans were a bit more practical, as we all know that Romans are very practical. It was a very practical culture. They used a stick with a sponge attached to its end, and they put it left soaking in a bucket. So if you went to a public toilet, you could find this thing, which was called Silospongium, all right? And the length was 25 centimeters. They didn't share it, okay? And that was the Roman public toilet. You see that they could do all together the same thing, all happily. Okay, in Inuits, that there are culture in the pole. During summer, they used to clean with moss, and in winter with snow. You see, there's nothing else apart from snow, so that's what they used. And during in the coast population, they used shells, obviously, and seaweed, which is something that they use for everything. Okay, so who were the inventors of the toilet paper? Yeah, I should have asked it before. Yeah, it were Chinese in the 2nd century before Christ. All right, they have invented paper, but they could use it not only for writing so also for what I'm talking about, all right? And yes, it's amazing because in the 14th century, they used very big toilet paper for people, for emperors and its court. And I have found a picture as well. And you can see here how big the toilet papers were. But not everyone could use it, just the people from the court. Already in the 14th century, they were manufacturing 10 million packages every year of toilet paper, when in this part of the world where we are, we didn't even know what it was. All right, so they were far behind before. So in the USA, that here everything came much later. In the 1857, Joseph Gattegui commercialized it with aloe vera for hemorrhoids. So it wasn't for everyday use. It was rather for people that have some problems. But it wasn't successful at all. Like, no one thought about using it. Then in the 1867, Walter Alcott rolled the toilet paper for the first time. But wasn't successful neither. It wasn't still the time for toilet paper to go to the market. Scott brothers in the 1880 were the first ones to be successful commercializing it. They generalized it in the whole world. But it wasn't possible to show it like in the markets because it was pernicious and it was immoral as well. As you can see, the culture was very, the Puritans were very shy about of everything. And in the 1937, there were advertisements that advertised the paper free of splinters. Do you know what splinters are? Astillas? So you can imagine that the toilet paper before weren't that soft as they are now. So imagine that you are cleaning and then you find a splinter in the, okay. So we have big developments about toilet paper, as you can see. And there are many different kinds, even spicy, like the one in the picture. You can see that as well in fashionable, yeah. I have a video about the reactions while during the quarantine people thought that they might not have toilet paper, which is something like very, very important for us nowadays. Okay. Oh. No? In YouTube? Oh.
Fight over.
Oh, sorry.
A Bankstown mother and daughter have been charged after a fight over toilet paper in Woolworths. The vision of the shoppers arguing with another woman went viral as supermarkets imposed new purchase limits to curb coronavirus hysteria.
The fight over toilet paper that went viral around the world. Now the 60-year-old mother and her 23-year-old daughter, who were wheeling a trolley full of rolls at Woolworths Chullora, have been charged with a fray and are due in court next month.
I cannot understand the logic. We have a big factory that produces toilet paper.
Investigators spoke to the other woman, a 49-year-old, who'd allegedly been assaulted, but she wasn't injured. The incident, one of several at Australian supermarkets, as desperation for toilet paper reaches irrational limits.
Everybody.
Okay. So you can see how important is the idea of keeping out of running out of toilet paper. Oh, oh yeah. Okay. So even for people that we could not get out of our houses and we couldn't breathe fresh air, and some people just had this balcony and they decided to fill it with the toilet paper. All right. So as a conclusion, it's invention that made a big impact on modern day life. It's used in almost every culture, because you know that it's not used in all cultures, like Arabics do it in a different way. And for the end of the activity, I'm trying to, okay. We are doing an exercise all together. If we can, oops. Like historia más reciente. Okay. I don't know how to. Does anyone know how to see the ones you have created? Because in my computer was different. Sorry? A ver, aquí, aquí. But I think it's where I am now. Sí, es que no carga. Oh, so there's no internet. So without internet, it's not possible. Sí, pero a lo mejor ya no. Okay. Oh. Ah, here it is. So it's, I don't know if I have time. Okay, so let's play. We are doing it all together, all right? Okay, so how did Inuit get clean at summer? With moss. How did Greeks get clean? Sorry. Yes, clay and stone. How did Romans get clean? Okay, how did Inuit get clean at winter? Good. How did coast population get cleaned? Seaweed, very well. Where did Romans soak their sponge? Very well, so you all have passed. And that's all.